And the first one we're looking at is that motivation matters. You know, God looks into our heart. Why did Ananias and Sapphira act as if they were giving the entirety of the sale of the proceeds? And you know, that's one thing that I guess we all question. They say, why did they even have to say they give it all? I mean, their gift would have been generous and accepted had they just say, no, that's not all of it, that's a portion. But for some reason, they wanted to say that they gave it all. God had not commanded them to do this, but they may have been desirous of the recognition received by Barnabas for a similar gift. And you know, it's the reason we picked up in chapter 4. You know, that was brought out that Barnabas had sold that property and laid that money at the feet of the apostles. So I'm sure he did garner some acknowledgement for that, probably some praise. And Ananias and Sapphira probably saw that, and they said, well, you know what, we can do this too. They may have watched the praise and the attention he garnered and longed for the same attention themselves. In Matthew chapter 6, Jesus warns us about the generosity motivated by earthly praise. Thus, when you give to the needy, sound no trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in synagogues and in the streets, that they may be praised by others. God does not find pleasure in this type of giving because it is driven by a love of self rather than a love of God and for others. Ananias and Sapphira may have been driven by earthly praise. Their gift may not have represented a sacrifice to them, but just a transaction. And I think that's one lesson and one warning that is easy for us to fall into. You know, sometimes we want to make transactions with God instead of really giving Him our heart. And you know, and I've probably done that numerous times over my life. I know I've prayed prayers that, God, if you'll just give me this, I promise you I'll do this. And you know, we've probably all done that. And in many instances, I'm confident He give me what I asked for, but I didn't stand up on my end of the bargain for that. I still leaved and used whatever He provided for selfish reasons, much like Ananias and Sapphira did. But with them, this was a planned act of willful deceit by which they want the church to think something about them that is false. You know, probably as mentioned earlier, they wanted to appear to be the same stuff as Barnabas, but without being as generous. Giving at a platinum level. But if Ananias was expecting public affirmation, he got something very different. Maybe Ananias